this weekend we have something going on in Newark, New Jersey.
Is that where it is, in Newark?
Yeah, what do you mean? Why are you getting so disappointed?
Well,
It's their first time back in New Jersey in 4 years, since 2019. So they came back.
Should have kept it that way.
I should have kept it. That's so disrespectful. John, do you hear he's talking shit about your state, man?
Jersey smells, man.
Jersey smells. But John is alluding to UFC 288 taking place from the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey. The main event I'll speak on first is Aljamain Sterling, the bantamweight world champion, taking on the returning one of my top 10 MMA fighters of all time, Henry the Messenger Cejudo. I don't even know if he goes by the Messenger anymore. He might be Triple C or the Cringe King or whatever. But Cejudo is back after a 3-year layoff. His last fight was May 9th of 2020, back when the pandemic was still going on. The way I look at this fight, man, for me, Aljo has gained a lot of respect and cred back after beating Petr Yan in their rematch after the unfortunate knee to the head in their first fight, which caused a disqualification, and Aljo won the championship on a DQ, and he got a lot of flack for it. I even gave him flack for it too. It was just more. It looked like he was acting a lot more if you just go back and look at it, but I'm not going to hark on that. He did his job in the second fight. He surprised me. I thought Jan was going to dominate, to be honest with you, and Aljo showed up and he was able to get the takedown at will, control him on the ground and win the fight, and then defend his championship and basically negate that black mark of the disqualification knee to him. However, on the other side, I was very disappointed in Aljo's fight against his last fight against TJ Dillashaw. Excuse me. TJ went into that fight with one arm, and what I mean by that is he had a dislocated shoulder. He even said that he believes he dislocated it up to 20 times in training camp leading up to the fight. It popped out, I think, 2 times in the fight itself. And it took Aljamain Sterling 2 rounds to get the finish, which I just believe is a little disappointing. I would be if I was Aljo. I'm supposedly to be the best in the world in this division. This guy's got one arm. I'm a phenomenal wrestler. I finished a guy in Corey Sandhagen who took TJ 5 rounds. I finished Corey in less than 2 minutes, I believe, by taking him down, taking his back, and choking him out. I should be able to beat TJ Dillashaw with one arm in 1 round. I truly do believe that. So I was disappointed in that performance. But Aljo does present some issues for Henry, right? He's bigger, he's taller, he's longer, he's stronger, he's got the better jiu-jitsu game. He's going to attack the takedowns. He's going to be relentless with those. But on Henry's side, which I haven't spoken about, Henry Cejudo is no slouch. This is a 2-division weight champion returning. I know he's 36 now. He's off a 3-year layoff. But 2-division champ for a reason. This guy has beat Demetrius Johnson, who I believe is a top 5 fighter of all time. He finished TJ Dillashaw, even though TJ was going down in weight, and the dehydration probably killed him. Not actually, but you know what I mean. And he was able to get the finish within, I think, 1 minute and 30 seconds in that fight. He was able to take on a killer in Marlon Moraes for the first round. Marlon Moraes is one of the most dangerous men in the first round, even first 2 rounds, because he's just comes at it with such force. And if you watch that fight, it was like, Jesus Christ, the shots Henry was getting hit with, and being able to survive that, take that onslaught, and realize all I have to do is take on that storm, right? And once I take the storm on, once I get past it, I'm home free. It's kind of like the analogy. I didn't even know this. I don't know if you guys know this. This is a fun fact about cows and bulls. So apparently when there's a storm, bulls will run in towards the storm because they know that when they run towards it, it'll be quick, fast, it'll be terrible, but it'll be over quickly. And then once you're on the other side, beautiful sunshine and rainbows, right? While cows, on the other hand, will run away from the storm because they are so petrified, and they'll keep running. So now they're prolonging it. The storm follows them, and they never get out of that storm until it passes. And they have to live through hell for that. It's just even when they know if they just stop, it'll be over quick, but they just keep running. So Henry kind of did that. Take the storm on. Once you take it, after that, he was able to get the finish on Marlon Moraes. And then he was able to beat Dominic Cruz, who's arguably the best bantamweight of all time. He was able to finish him with a beautiful knee to the head. And now Henry's coming back after a 3-year layoff. This man is an Olympic gold medalist. At the highest level his wrestling is. His striking is become leaps and bounds from what it was early in his career. He's going to be the faster guy. He's going to be the quicker guy. He's going to be the better wrestler. He's got the better stand-up, in my opinion. And he's also not saying Aljo is stupid or anything, because he's got a high fight IQ too. But I just believe Henry Cejudo has one of the highest fight IQs in the sports history. This man is a savant when it comes to this type of stuff, right? So I truly do believe that Henry's going to come back, reclaim his championship that he vacated 3 years ago. Nobody beat him for it. It's going to be a tough test. Listen, Aljo is the bigger man. The guy cuts a lot of weight to get to 135, and Henry was a 125er really at the start of his career. So he is the smaller guy. But I just believe Henry is, and he spoke on it. It's not that Aljo is bad. It's just I do believe Henry is better everywhere, almost everywhere. And I think Henry is going to show that. We've seen this. I've tweeted about this too. This is the year of the returns for the UFC. We had Tatiana Suarez, who had a 3+ year layoff. She won by submission earlier this year. We had Johnny Bones Jones come back after a 3+ year layoff. Got a finish in the first round. We also, and then later on this year, we have Conor McGregor coming back, and then Henry Cejudo now after a 3+ year layoff. So it's the year of the returns.
Top 10 for you.
Top 10, Henry Cejudo. So, listen, if he wins this fight, he's going to move up on the rankings, and he's already laid out his plan. He wants Aljo, he wants Sugar Sean O'Malley, and then he wants to move up to 145 and face Alexander Volkanovski and be the first ever person to win 3 championships in 3 different weight classes in the UFC history. If he does all of that, there will be conversations had that he's a top 2 fighter of all time. And people are going to make the argument that he's better than Jones because of those accolades, 3 division weight. It's all this thing. So I do expect Henry's going to recapture his championship. I don't see Aljo getting out of I don't see this actually going past 4 rounds, to be honest with you. But I got Henry Cejudo by I'll say TKO probably. Hashtag and new Henry Cejudo is back. And then we move on to Sugar Sean O'Malley versus Henry Cejudo, which is going to be an absolute beautiful thing to watch. I'm so excited for Henry Cejudo's return. I was always excited when he fought. He never garnered a lot of attention. The lower weight classes guys never really do. But if you're a real fight fan, he is a beautiful fighter to watch, and it's great to have him back in this sport.
It's gonna be interesting. I don't know if it's gonna be anywhere near as hyped as 287, unfortunately. But this is gonna be my first time watching Cejudo. I've probably watched him a couple of times, but as a casual MMA fan, it's been probably 4 years now. So it's gonna be quite the I guess quite the fight. I don't know. I'm pretty excited.
Yeah. And then the co-main event, just quickly, Gilbert Burns versus Bilal Muhammad, 2 top 5 welterweights. This fight was made 2 weeks ago, so both guys are taking on really short notice. Bilal Muhammad has just gone through Ramadan, so it's going to be interesting to see how his conditioning, his nutrition is. This is a 5-round fight. Usually when there's no title on the line, the other fights are usually 3 rounds. This is a special one. Dana does this sometimes, and it's a treat. It's going to be 5 rounds, co-main event, no non-title fight. As for Gilbert, though, he's also taking on short notice too. And he's also taking it where he just fought, John alluded to, UFC 287 against Jorge Masvidal, and he won a 3-round decision fight. He also fought earlier this year in January, where he was able to beat Neil Magny in Brazil in a first round with a first-round submission win. So Gilbert has been very active this year. It's going to be 3 fights within 5 months. It's a lot of activity. You don't really see that very often. But this is a treat. These guys are trying to get ahead of the line, trying to basically stamp their approval that I am next for a world championship shot, which is going to take a long time because apparently Leon and Colby might not be fighting till later this year, which is a little disappointing. But this is going to be a hella interesting fight. I believe Bilal is the faster fighter. He's got the better wrestling. He's more of a point fighter. Albeit his finish last fight against Sean Brady, which I was very disappointed in Sean Brady's performance. But I think Gilbert gets the dub. He's the better jiu-jitsu guy. He's got more power. He's more explosive. I think he's just got more ways to win. And I expect Gilbert Burns to get the W. The rest of the fight card is it's okay. It dealt with a lot of injuries. There were supposed to be Beneil Dariush and Charles Oliveira as the co-main event. That got pushed to next month's pay-per-view. Thank God he replaced it with Bilal and Gilbert. Bryce Mitchell was supposed to fight Evolov. Bryce literally just pulled out like a couple of days ago due to an injury. So this card has been dealt with a lot of injuries. And I know what John means by this fight card is not very hyped up as the last two, especially because, John Jones and Israel Adesanya versus Pereira, that you're going to take a little bit of a dip. But it's a good fight card. It's okay. Is it worth, what is it now? $80, $85, I think, for the pay-per-view. Is it worth that? No, it's not. But I'm a degenerate and I love the UFC, so I'm going to watch it.
Could it be Cejudos' last time fighting if he does not win?
I mean, that's going to be an interesting call. What does, does Henry want to continue if he doesn't win? Because probably 80% chance that it is if he loses this fight, John. But it's hard to bet against Henry Cejudo. And I know there's a stat out there that apparently fighters who in title fights in the UFC who are 35 and up from weight classes 125 to 170 are 2-20 something, I believe. And the only 2 wins are by Tyron Woodley.
Wow. So
yeah, it's a tough go, especially for the lighter weight classes, because the first thing to go is the speed. And when you're not, on the par of the speed in these lower weight classes, you're going to feel it real quick. You think about like the Kevin Hart thing, whereas he says his uncle got punched 8 times. He said, I got punched by an octopus or something. Where those punches come from?